The story of Levi's jeans begins not with fashion but with hard work. In the mid-1800s, America was buzzing with excitement. Gold was discovered in California and thousands of hopeful people rushed to the West. This was the famous gold rush. These miners needed clothes that were tough. They needed pants that would not rip or tear easily. Their everyday trousers were simply not strong enough for the demanding labor of digging for gold. A man named Levi Strauss saw this need. He was a German immigrant who came to San Francisco in 1853. He ran a wholesale business that sold supplies to small stores across the American West. He heard the complaints from the working men. They told him their pockets tore easily when filled with tools or gold nuggets. His first idea was to use a strong material called canvas. This was the same tough fabric used to make tents and wagon covers. He thought it would be perfect for work pants. He made several pairs of these waist overalls, as they were called then. The miners loved them. The real breakthrough came a few years later. Levi Strauss began using a sturdy cotton fabric from France called serge de Nîmes. This name was eventually shortened to denim. It was dyed with indigo to give it its signature deep blue color. A tailor from Reno, Nevada named Jacob Davis had a brilliant idea. He suggested placing small metal rivets at the corners of the pockets and other stress points to make them stronger. He wrote a letter to Levi Strauss, and in 1873 they received a patent for their riveted blue jeans. The Levi's 501 was born, and it would change clothing forever. For many years, blue jeans were strictly work clothes. Miners, cowboys, lumberjacks, farmers. They were the uniform of the American working man, the famous two-horse brand patch, showing two horses trying to pull a pair of jeans apart. It promised incredible strength. That image was a powerful marketing tool. It assured customers their pants were built to last, no matter how hard they worked. The change began slowly in the 1920s and 1930s. America was falling in love with the idea of the West. People from the East Coast started traveling to dude ranches for vacation. These were working ranches that welcomed tourists. Visitors wanted to experience the life of a cowboy. To look the part, they bought blue jeans, the authentic clothing of the cowboys they admired. When they returned home, they took their Levi's with them. The jeans became a souvenir of their adventurous holiday. They were a symbol of freedom, the outdoors, and the rugged spirit of the American West. By the time World War II ended, the transformation was well underway. Soldiers returning from the war wanted comfortable, practical clothing. Jeans fit perfectly into the more casual post-war culture. Slowly but surely, the blue jean was walking out of the fields and factories and onto Main Street America. The image of the cowboy is one of the most powerful symbols of America. He is seen as strong, independent, and free. And what does this iconic figure wear? Blue jeans. In the early 20th century, Hollywood began making Western movies. These films created a romantic version of the American West. Actors like John Wayne, Gary Cooper became huge stars playing heroic cowboys. On screen, they were almost always wearing Levi's jeans. They rode horses, fought bad guys, saved the day, all while wearing their trusty denim. This cemented the connection between Levi's and the cowboy in the minds of people all over the country and the world. This was no accident. Levi's actively promoted this association. They knew that people admired the cowboy and his rugged lifestyle. The jeans were no longer just pants. They were a symbol of American mythology. They represented the vast open spaces of the frontier and the freedom that came with it. The cowboy was a hero, and Levi's were his chosen armor. For generations of young boys and men, playing cowboy was a part of growing up. And to do that, you needed a pair of jeans. After World War II, a new generation of young people emerged. They were looking for their own identity. They did not want to be just like their parents. They listened to new music, like rock and roll, and questioned authority. This was the beginning of the teenager as a distinct cultural group, and this new group needed a new uniform. They found it in blue jeans. Jeans became a symbol of rebellion. Hollywood once again played a huge role in this trend. In the 1950s, a new kind of movie star appeared. Marlon Brando, the wild one. James Dean, rebel without a cause. They played troubled, misunderstood characters who did not fit into mainstream society. And what did they wear? A white t-shirt, a leather jacket, and a pair of Levi's jeans. This look became the official uniform of the cool, anti-establishment rebel. This new association made many adults nervous. They saw jeans as a sign of disrespect and juvenile delinquency. Some schools even banned students from wearing jeans to class. Of course, this only made jeans even more popular with young people. The fact that adults disapproved of them made them even more desirable. Wearing jeans became a small act of defiance. This rebellious image gave the brand an edge that it has never fully lost. For a very long time, blue jeans were made only for men. It was considered improper for women to wear trousers in public. Their clothing was expected to consist of dresses, skirts. However, just as with men's fashion, the change started on the dude ranches of the 1930s. Women who visited these ranches for vacation wanted to ride horses, participate in ranch activities. They couldn't do that in a dress. In response, Levi's created Lady Levi's in 1934. The first blue jeans made specifically for women. Early women's jeans were still similar to the men's version, made from tough denim with a high waist. The main difference was the fit, made to accommodate a woman's shape. During World War II, many women worked in factories to support the war effort. They needed practical, safe clothing for their jobs. Jeans, other types of trousers, became common on the factory floor. The real shift came in the 1950s and the 1960s. Jeans became a symbol of youth and rebellion for boys. Girls wanted to join that culture. The blue jean had become a unisex garment, for everyone. The 1960s and 70s saw another major cultural shift, and Levi's were right at the center of it. The hippie movement swept across America, especially among the youth. This counterculture movement was all about peace, love, and freedom from societal norms. Hippies rejected the clean-cut, conservative look of their parents' generation. They grew their hair long and embraced a more natural, eclectic style of dress. And the foundation of this new look was almost always a pair of well-worn blue jeans. Jeans were the perfect canvas for their philosophy. Music was the heartbeat of the hippie movement, and jeans were its uniform. Rock and folk musicians, from Bob Dylan to the members of Jefferson Airplane, often performed in jeans. The biggest cultural events of the era were outdoor music festivals, most famously Woodstock in 1969. Hundreds of thousands of young people gathered for 3 days of peace and music. If you look at photos from Woodstock, you see a sea of denim. During this time, people began to personalize their jeans. People would add patches, embroidery, and paint to make their jeans unique. This was a way to express individuality and creativity. Levi's were no longer just something you bought, they were something you created. As the decades passed, Levi's jeans continued to evolve with the times. The 1970s were the era of the bell bottom. Disco dancers, suburban moms wore jeans tight at the top and flared out wide at the bottom. The 1980s brought a different look. The punk scene, the new wave scene, favored a tighter, sleeker silhouette. People bought Levi's 501s and even shrank them in the bathtub for a skin-tight fit. High fashion embraced denim. Calvin Klein's Brooke Shields ads made jeans sexy. Levi's launderette commercial, 1985, revived the 501, especially in Europe. Jeans were officially high fashion. The 1990s went relaxed and anti-fashion. The grunge scene, led by Nirvana, pushed comfort and a not-trying look. Loose, baggy jeans, ripped knees. The style was messy and casual. Old, worn-in Levi's fit perfectly. Through it all, the classic Levi's 501 remained constant. The original button fly was always available. It became a foundation each generation could make their own. While Levi's started as a uniquely American product, its appeal quickly spread across the globe. After World War II, American soldiers stationed in Europe and Japan often wore their jeans when they were off duty. Local people saw this casual, rugged style and were fascinated. Jeans represented the freedom and prosperity of America. That felt very attractive after the hardships of war. They were difficult to find, which made them even more desirable. A pair of Levi's became a status symbol, a piece of authentic Americana that was exotic and cool. The brand's international expansion really took off in the 1960s and 70s. American pop culture, movies, music, television shows, was being exported worldwide. And in that culture, people were wearing jeans. Young people in London, Tokyo, Berlin saw the hippies at Woodstock, saw the rock stars on stage, and wanted that same look of freedom and rebellion. A fascinating example of this global spread occurred behind the Iron Curtain. During the Cold War, Western goods were banned in the Soviet Union and in other communist countries in Eastern Europe. Blue jeans were labeled symbols of Western capitalism and decadence. That only made them more popular. They became symbols of freedom and of rebellion against oppressive regimes. Today, Levi's is one of the most recognized brands in the world. The blue jean has become a truly global language. Looking back on more than 150 years of history, it is clear that Levi's are much more than just a piece of clothing. They are a cultural artifact. They have been present at nearly every major turning point in modern American history. Pioneers who built the West, soldiers who fought in wars, rebels who challenged society, visionaries who changed the world. The story of Levi's is, in many ways, the story of the modern world. It is a story of work, play, rebellion, self-expression. The simple blue jean has been a silent witness to it all. The legacy of Levi's lies in its incredible adaptability. It started as a functional garment for laborers, designed for durability above all else. But over time, it became a blank canvas. Each generation and subculture has projected its own values and aspirations onto the simple denim fabric. For the cowboy, for the 1950s teenager, for the hippie, for the punk rocker. No other single piece of clothing has held so many different meanings for so many different people. Today, Levi's continues to balance its rich heritage with modern innovation. The company emphasizes sustainability. Ultimately, the enduring influence of Levi's is personal. A favorite pair of Levi's, worn until it is soft and faded, becomes like a second skin. Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis set out to create a strong pair of pants for working men. They could never have imagined that their invention would become a global icon, a symbol of individuality, and a beloved part of the human experience for centuries to come.